Hi, my name is Crystal. I am making my first trying to conceive vlog. A little bit about me. I am 30 years old. My husband and I have been trying for about 2.5 years. My husband is 31. As far as we know, he doesn't have any problems. We're waiting on a SA to come back. We did do an at-home count test that you get from the drugstore, and it was good. Um, I have some issues. As far as we know so far, I do not have PCOS, although I do have some symptoms, but ultrasounds have never confirmed it. I do have a luteal phase disorder. I normally start AF 7 to 10 days, which is not good. Even if we fertilize, we would not get pregnant. So anyway, I did this because I watch a lot of trying to conceive videos online, and it's helped me a lot. Um, I did not go to a gynecologist until we started trying to conceive because I was pretty terrified. I had a bad experience when I was about 8 years old with a doctor who tried to convince my mom um, that I was being molested, which was not the case. And he told my mom, he was a general doctor. He told my mom that he needed to examine me vaginally. And my mother, thinking, oh my goodness, my poor baby, decided that he should. And it was terrible. It hurt. I was terrified. I cried and begged for him not to do it, and I cried and begged my mom not to let him do it. I was very angry at my mom for a long time because I felt like she allowed him to do that. Nothing was wrong with me. He convinced my mom that I indeed had been molested and that I should talk. My mom questioned me for hours, telling me I had to tell her I had not been molested. He was lying. Um, so anyway, because of that, I was terrified of doctors, especially male doctors, and I was terrified for anyone to go down there. Later in my life, when I was 18, I was drugged and I was raped, and that was very painful. Fortunately, I don't remember hardly anything. I remember waking up at one point and seeing and feeling a lot of blood. But that's really it. Um, I had a lot of scarring and pain. I couldn't walk the next day. I couldn't walk for a while. So I was also terrified to have sex. My husband and I got married in 2000 and 2010. 2010, sorry. And we've been together longer than that. But we got married in 2010, and we didn't start trying then. I didn't think I wanted kids at that time. Um, didn't have a great relationship with my mom, and I didn't want to be a mom because I didn't want to be like her. It wasn't until later that I decided I really wanted to have kids, so we started trying. And it was really hard for me because I still was not comfortable with sex at all. I would do it to make my husband happy, and he didn't know. But I did enjoy it. We would try to time sex. I started learning a lot about OPKs and temperatures and all that lingo. Um, I joined the Mommy Playbook forum and learned so much and watched a lot of trying to conceive videos on YouTube. I also did a ton of research um, and found out a bunch of information. So I started doing my temperatures, which I found that I had a ton of cycles that I did not ovulate, and I had no idea. My cycles were pretty regular, and some were pretty terrible. And I also had migraines that usually um, were around changes in my menstrual, I guess you could say, changes in my hormone levels. I had really bad migraines. I started when I was about 13, and I have them with aura. which is where you see kind of like a constant lightning bolt in your eye, and it goes through a process. It flickers in your eye, and you can't see, like, I'll know I'm getting a migraine. I'm looking at someone, and all of a sudden I can't see parts of their face. Or if I'm driving, I'll be looking at the vehicle in front of me, and all of a sudden the back tire is missing. And then, anyway, it's really terrible. They're hereditary in my family. Um, anyway, so I had a lot of cycles where I didn't ovulate. Well, I went to a gynecologist finally, terrified as all can be. They were barely able to do a pap smear on me because I was just so nervous and so stressed out. I talked to my doctor. She told me to just keep trying, that it would happen naturally. I don't have PCOS. They did an ultrasound and everything was fine. She told me to get on prenatal vitamins. They did blood work. I did not have thyroid problems, but I was borderline. Diabetes runs in my family. I didn't have that problem though. I did weigh quite a bit. I weighed like 200 pounds, which is a lot considering I'm only 4'9" 3/4, 4'10". So I was overweight. She did encourage me to lose weight. Well, once at that point, I considered myself really actively trying, and we tried to time sex. I did ovulation tests. I did the ones you get at the store, the smiley faces. I believe it's clear blue. I spent a lot of money doing those. And I never got smiley faces. I've never seen one. Don't know what they look like. Eventually I learned about the internet cheapies, the Wanfo, which I think I have one here. I'm not really sure. I just had it. Here it is. These. The Wanfos. They are really cheap, and they work great for me. I was able to get positives with these. When I did ovulate, they're, you can get them on Amazon. I think I pay $25 and I get 50 of them and 25 pregnancy tests. I don't like the pregnancy test as much as I like the ovulation test. I've had problems with evaporated lines, which can be quite devastating. Anyway, so I learned in doing my temperatures and doing the test, OBKs, that I had a short luteal phase. And with doing some research, I found out that that can be not good because you cannot implant, or you can implant and miscarry before your body knows that you're pregnant. I went to my gynecologist with this, and she kind of just wrote it off and said that I just need to keep trying, it'll happen naturally. I got really depressed, extremely depressed. My mom only had me, and my mom tried for 4 years for me. And then she tried for about 8 or 10 years for another child, and it never worked. So I knew that I would probably not have good chances. So I just knew I was broken. And every time I would get a negative ovulation test, or would not get a positive pregnancy test, or start a period, I just grew more and more depressed. Before I knew it, I was close to 250 pounds because I was depressed, and I would eat and I would do nothing. I wouldn't work out. I barely make it to work, honestly. When you want something like that so bad, everything else just doesn't matter. Anyway, I gave up. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the test anymore. I couldn't take forcing myself to have sex because I was only doing it for that reason. I wasn't enjoying it at all. My husband was very frustrated because he felt like it was him, even though it wasn't. He's a very sweet man, and he's not. He just knew it was his fault, not mine. So anyway, and my doctor was no help because she just kept telling me it'll happen naturally. It'll happen naturally. I tried to talk to her about medicine, and she wouldn't give me any. The only time she gave me medicine is when I had an 88-day cycle, and I wanted to start my period, and I just wanted to get over with it because of the stress. And she did give me Provera. I took one Provera, and the next day I had a positive LH test. And I called her, and she said to stop taking it. I ended up being on that cycle for another I don't know, 15, 20 days or something like that. Um, so with the weight gain and with it not happening, I wanted to give up, and I did. So my husband, it just wasn't going to happen. Um, and I gained more weight over time. Finally, my birthday's in March, and in February of this year, I decided that for my birthday, I wanted to lose weight, that I wanted to be healthy. I went to something called Weight Wise, which we have locally in my town, and I got on the medicine that was for people who were morbidly obese. It is not Adipex. It is not a high energy medicine. It is a medicine that gives you energy, but it's lower doses, and it does help to curb appetite, but not as much. And the reason it's for people who are morbidly obese is it's made to last longer. It's made so that you don't build up a resistance to it as quickly, and it worked fantastic for me. It did not work on its own. I changed my diet, ate a lot of proteins, a lot of beef jerky, cashews, eggs, chicken, ate a lot of salads. I ate more meals, but very small meals. I didn't eat late anymore. I started working out. Actually, I didn't start working out till like the second month. Um, so far, I have lost 63 pounds, and I'm very happy about that. I'll put pictures on here of far I've come. I have gotten off the medicine because I am trying, even though you can still take it while trying, you have to stop once you get pregnant. So my new doctor, I got a new gynecologist, he recommended that I go ahead and stop so I can get adjusted to it now. So I lost a lot of weight and my cycle seemed to get back to normal. I was having 30-day cycles on the dot that first month I started taking the medicine. Um, and I was really excited. So I told my husband I was finally ready to try again. I found out about Preseed, which if you don't know what Preseed is, it's amazing and I would highly recommend it. It is the one of the only, I believe, sperm friendly lubricant. It um, it best mocks egg white, cervical mucus, and for me, it made a world of difference. Made me, it helped me to enjoy sex again. Um, I had forgot what that was even like. Um, and it also helps with the sperm traveling. You know, if you haven't watched The Great Sperm Race, I highly recommend it. I'll try to put the link in my description if I can. This is my first video, so I'm not sure that I can do that. But it's amazing. It helps you to understand why for some women it is so hard to get pregnant because sperm they have a very tough battle, and using Preseed definitely helps them. So I was able to overcome a lot of my trying my sex fears. Um, and then I got a new doctor. I had enough. I wanted a doctor who would take me seriously and who would know that I have tried for a long time. I know what's wrong with my body to a certain extent, and I'm not here to play around. I'm 30 now, and I want more than one child, and I'm just not here for games. So I did. I found a great doctor. I looked at tons of reviews online and talked to a bunch of people and found a doctor who was an OBGYN who's affiliated with an RE if I have to go that far. Hopefully I don't. And I had a false positive pregnancy test, which was a terrible time for me. I got that positive pregnancy test and I don't even know how to explain it. All the things I thought that would happen when I got a positive pregnancy test were out the window. I was in shock, disbelief. I was extremely happy. Um, Called the doctor's office and they told me to go ahead and come in because I was bleeding. Not heavy, but bleeding. And I talked to the doctor and I called him because I had not seen him yet. And his nurse said, go ahead and go into the early labor and delivery because he's doing some deliveries today. He will pop in and see you and they'll do a blood test on you to see, to confirm your pregnancy. So he came in and talked to me before the blood draw and, was excited to meet me. I did not want a male gynecologist, but at this point I had come over a lot of those fears. I had worked through it and I wanted someone who was good. I didn't care what gender they were. Excuse me. And he was. He walked in with a great confidence. He was very gentle. He listened to me. He encouraged me, and he was very excited for me for having a positive pregnancy test. And he told me what the plan would be. And he told me if for some reason it didn't work out, the plan would be to move forward aggressively because I've had enough time to, you know, try and it not happen. So he leaves because he has to go attend to a patient, and the nurse comes back. They draw my blood, and I'm sitting in the room waiting, and I'm on the Mommy Playbook, and I'm talking about how nervous I am and how excited I am, and um, I hear someone knock on the door, not my door, but the door to the room outside, and I can hear a piece of paper, and I hear her pick up the phone, and I hear her whispering to the doctor, and she says, well, what do you think it is? Do you think it's a false positive? And my heart sunk. It's like somewhere deep inside of me I knew, why in the world would you even think it would be positive? It's never going to be positive. You're stupid. That's what I felt like. She came in, and I could tell from I just wanted to run out the room before she came in, but I couldn't. She came in, and she kind of just walked past me and kind of kept her head down and sat down, and she said, I don't know how to say this to you. And she said, it's negative. And they did the kind of blood test where it's not just negative or positive, it's actual numbers. And I said, well, what was my HCG? And she said it was less than 1%. So that means I was nowhere near ever pregnant. Um, and it was devastating. Because at first when I saw the positive, I was like, this isn't true. And overnight I had pretty much convinced myself. And I was excited. I even wrote in Fertility Friend in my notes that, I'm not even sure what stage you're at, but I already love you. And it was nothing. And it was heartbreaking. She asked me if I was okay, and I remember saying, I'm fine. And I had to walk out of that hospital. I had to walk right in front of the nursery. And I got in my car, and I started to cry, and I told myself, no, make it home, get home. My husband didn't know, because I wanted to surprise my husband whenever I got a positive. So I was really dealing with this on my own. And I got home, and I just cried. And I remember having a glass of wine and uh, eating some chocolate. And I still didn't tell my husband because I was going to go see him the next day. He was out of town for work. So my mom called, and I told my mom all about it, and I was really upset, and I took off a couple of days. And I went to see my husband, and I told him about it, and he was pretty upset. And then one of the girls on the Mommy Playbook told me, she said, maybe this happened for a reason. Think about it this way. You were very nervous about going to a new doctor, especially a male doctor. You were worried about going in and them not taking you seriously enough and trying to tell you, oh, you need to try a little while before we give you this medicine. She said this way you had to meet the doctor in a different circumstance. You were happy with meeting them, and you feel more comfortable now. And I sat and thought about it, and I was like, this is true. So I went in for my first preconception visit with him, and he remembered me, which was great because it was like 2 months later, or a month and a half. Um, I had a list of questions. In fact, I'll show it to you. Um, I was determined to have it my way, and I was not leaving unless I got the answers that I wanted. And it was, there was no other option. He was going to give me, the answers I wanted. So, I took that list, and I was prepared to ask him every question in the world about it. And before I could, he started asking me questions. And when he asked those questions, he pretty much answered all of my questions with the questions he asked me, which was fantastic because, my Lord, in some ways I didn't know where to start, and I didn't want to sound stupid, because I didn't want him to just write me off, and I didn't want him to tell me, oh, we're going to try some more, and I'm not going to show you the list because I can't find it. So anyway, it was a long list. I wanted to talk about my luteal phase disorder because I knew I had one. I wanted to talk about Clomid because I wanted to try Clomid. I wanted to talk about um, blood draws, stuff like that, and it just went so smoothly. I walked out of the office that day with a prescription for Clomid and Prometrium, which is for it's progesterone. It's not Provera though. It's a different it's a different version of progesterone, I guess, and it's to help lengthen your luteal phase. It also helps for women who miscarry a lot. It helps to keep your progesterone high, and you do have to take it until your placenta starts doing the progesterone for you instead of your corpus luteum. So I felt very good, really high hopes. And I loved the doctor. I just loved him. He was amazing. He made me feel very great about the situation. He didn't make me feel stupid. And he left all the options up to me. He told me, he said, let's talk about metformin, let's talk about this and that. And he left the decision up to me. He said, it's whatever you want to do, which was important because it's my body. And I knew what was going on with my body at this point. I had started doing tracking my cycles and stuff again, and confirming that I did have a luteal phase defect, poor ovulation because my progesterone was not high. So my new plan was Clomid 50 milligrams, cycle day 5 through 9. We were to BD every other day from cycle 9 until after positive OPK. I was supposed to have blood draw on cycle day 21, which didn't happen because I'm at cycle day 20 now, and I just had a positive OPK this morning. And I followed up with another OPK this afternoon, which is, it looks positive to me. And I know the difference between a positive and a negative one. But it looks like it's starting to go down. And yesterday, last night and stuff, I had an almost positive. So I know I'm surging now, but I had a rough cycle because I just knew I was going to ovulate on cycle day 15, and when I didn't, I was losing my mind, and I had terrible things happen, and I was emotional, and I was mood swings like crazy. So I'm going in for blood draw in a week from today, from next Monday now, because it's supposed to really be 7 DPO. I'm really hoping for a temperature shift tomorrow. We have a good BD schedule, but we can't do it today because he is out of town for work. We will be able to tomorrow, but if I ovulate already, we won't do it. If my temperature rise doesn't happen tomorrow, then we will. I'm really hoping that it works, and I'm really hoping to share my journey with someone, even if it doesn't help or even if only one person watches it, or if only one person is helped by watching my journey, that would make me very happy because I've scoured the internet trying to find answers, and I've found a lot of answers and a lot of great women in this process, which is fantastic. So anyway, I would say that's pretty much it for my first one. So just to recap, I'm cycle day 20. I had a positive OPK today, and my temperature did drop today. So hopefully tomorrow it will rise up, and maybe my first Clomid cycle will work. Maybe we'll have a BFP, and maybe we won't. I felt my left ovary just radiating heat today, and I felt some pinching, so I hope that it works. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions for me, you can leave them below in the comments, and I will try to answer them for you as best as I can. I'm hoping to do very regular trying to conceive vlogs. My husband is away a lot, working out of state, so I spend a lot of time to myself and working. So hopefully I can keep up with this pretty good. For those of you watching, good luck, and I hope you get your BFP soon. If you have any questions about trying and I can help, I would love to. If you're on the Mommy Playbook, my name is Disney Mommy 2B, DisneyMommie, the number 2, and BE. And you can find my threads on there in the Trying to Conceive section. If you would like to follow that, I have pictures of all my OPKs and stuff like that. And some more detailed stories about my life. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you watch again.